Welcome to the Sober Sesh podcast with Emily and Katie. Just a trigger warning before we start, we will be discussing alcohol and substance abuse, and
we will occasionally swear.
Yeah, we might swear a little. Episode went really well.
It did.
We got a really good response from it, didn't we?
Yeah, thank you to everyone who watched.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we had a few people message us, didn't we?
Yes.
And say that they find it really inspiring that we're sharing our stories and it's also helping them. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's hit hard for people, but that's kind of what we wanted to do, wasn't it? Because we want people to realise that perhaps they might have a problem, because I didn't know that I had a problem, and it took a long time for me to find out I had a problem.
Exactly.
So it's nice for people to be able to relate to us.
Yeah, and like we said, if it can just help one person, that's all we care about, really. But hopefully, as we start getting the episodes out there, more people can start to realise if they do have a problem, or, like we said last time, don't need to hit rock bottom before they reach out for help. And that's what we want. We want people to reach out for help and get the help they need. So, how was your week?
Yeah, it was all right. I actually got my nails done on Friday. The next day, one broke.
Girl problems.
The next day, another one broke. And do you know what? Honestly, if I was drinking and using, that would have been like an absolute top reason for me to be like, let's do a huge line of cocaine to get over it.
Literally.
And let's get 3 bottles of wine in as well.
I would have actually cried if that happened to me. I got my nails done as well. I couldn't stand when I was editing the last episode. I was like, oh my God, we need to get our nails done. Yuck, literally.
Yeah, I did. And now
and then, Emily's broke within the first day of getting them. So, but like Emily said, that would have been a reason to drink or use on, for sure.
Any excuse. Any excuse. But yeah, how's your week been?
Really good. I got my nails done. Mine are all fresh.
Same.
I actually got a tattoo. You can't really see it. It's still healing. Shout out Los Thomas Tattoo. He's my guy. I work for him, so I went to see him. Got a new tattoo. And my weekend, I've got a really talented family. So I went. It was like St. Paddy's Day, obviously, and I went to a pub, because you can still go to pubs when you are sober.
Yes, you can.
It's not illegal.
No.
And I've got a little cousin who plays with a guitar. He was like the support act. And then I've got an older cousin who's in a band, Tom, Mike and Paul. And Reese is the little cousin that was before it. And it was just them playing musical night. And all my cousins were there. We was all jumping and dancing.
Who would have thought you could still have fun?
Literally. So, I had a really good weekend. And sober and fresh on Sunday. Still felt
it's the best feeling.
Yeah.
It just doesn't get old, does it, on a Sunday morning when you wake up, clear head, no anxiety, no shame or fear of what you've done the night before, just pure clear conscience.
And the feeling doesn't wear off. I know obviously I'm only 6 months, but you're 19 months. Every Sunday we still text each other like, oh, how great is this?
So grateful.
So good.
So good.
But I think we wanted to mention as well, everyone obviously says about the Sunday scaries.
Yeah.
I got them on Sunday.
You did?
I did. I told Emily, and even though we're not drinking or using, you still get that anxious, overwhelming feeling of life.
Yeah. You kind of just sit there on a Sunday contemplating your life, and your brain just goes into overload, and you're like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
It's your brain playing mind games with you and telling you that you're not good enough. That's still the illness there, telling you, do you know what would make it better?
Honestly.
Let's drink.
Even though I've put out this, obviously podcast and sobriety, my illness is still saying, like, fuck it. There's only one episode.
You're not good enough.
Go on.
No one likes you.
Literally. And it was just so overwhelming. But then I'm really happy that Emily covered last week, HALT, like hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Because I realised I was overwhelmed because I hadn't eaten anything all day. I was tired from the night before, obviously. I didn't get to sleep till like 2 because I was taxi. Went straight to my family. I had got a coffee, so I was running on just coffee, anxiety from that. And I was tired. So I was hungry, angry, well, I don't know if I was angry, but maybe I was angry with myself because I hadn't eaten.
Yeah.
And then I got home and ate and went out for a walk, and I was like, oh my God, I do feel so much better.
I just needed food.
Yeah, literally. But we want to be more so transparent as well with like, you still are going to feel them overwhelming Sundays.
Yeah.
And it's going to you're going to get confused. Like, is this a come down? It's not. Obviously, you insinuate come down with Sundays and stuff, but it's just yourself with life and how your brain works and stuff, isn't it?
It's
'Cause
just,
you still get them as well,
yeah,
don't you?
it's on autopilot. It's like, okay, it's a Sunday evening, and even from me being a really small child, like Sunday evenings were the worst.
School tomorrow.
Yeah, mum would be like, school tomorrow, let's have a bath and then get to bed early. Oh, sorry mum, but that was not a vibe.
Literally.
That made it worse. It was scary.
Oh my God, the anxiety. I don't want
And it wasn't even that, like, for me, like, I didn't hate school, but I was just a very anxious child. So stepping out of my home, I was anxious.
Yeah.
To get on the bus, to meet friends who I even like love to death, like they were my friends, but still anxious.
Yeah.
To walk into school, anxious. To eat lunch, anxious. Like, you get the gist.
Everything.
So yeah, the Sunday evening scaries were just, they're still there, I think, because I'm a full-time mum. My head will then tell me, well, what are you going to do for work when he goes back to school? You haven't been in work for a while now. You've got nothing on your CV. How do you feel about that? And it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah,
like,
it's
your brain will just talk absolute waffle to you, won't
it will tell you every single negative thing you want to hear. And if you, obviously, when we tell each other what our brain is telling us, straight away we go, shut up. Like, that's not true.
You wouldn't tell your friend things like that.
No.
Or talk to your friend like
I
that.
love that saying. Like, they're like, you would never tell your friend everything bad
You're
about
fat. Not joking.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know what I mean, though? You would never look at your friend and say, you're fat,
No.
but it's all right to tell ourselves.
Exactly. So that's why talking about it, like getting you've always said this, a problem shared
Is a problem halved.
problem halved.
Yeah.
And I love that. I remember you shared that before in a meeting. And that's why the greatness of our program we're working, I have a sponsor. And I'm very lucky. It's also my best friend. So obviously not everyone's quite as lucky as that. But
we were lucky.
Having someone to check in with every day and saying about these nervous feelings, even if it's not through the 12-step program, if it's just through your mum or your sister or friend, it's going to help.
Yeah.
Like, and we always bottle things up and keep things to ourselves, but it's the worst thing, and that's why our addiction does come out sometimes.
100%.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you've actually been on some nights out, haven't you, since being sober? Yeah. How did you find that?
So yeah, we said this episode we want to talk about us in sobriety now and not talk about the bad times, but so me and Emily want to share our experiences going out sober,
because it's very different,
literally,
in a good way though.
And I, like I said in the last episode, raving, absolutely not. If you told me we have to go to a rave and there's no drugs or alcohol, I'd be like, fuck off.
Like what the hell,
please fuck off. I'm not going to do that. That was and going to festivals and trying to chase that high was exhausting. Trying to find the next drug or trying to find the next drink, you were never aware, and we were never present. So going out, especially to my first rave, and just being on Red Bull, I do drink Red Bull. There is quite a thing online where they say controversy where they say, well, you're not sober if you're drinking Red Bull. Honey, the alcohol percentage is 0 on Red Bull. Don't quote me for that. Don't actually know.
Liar.
But at least it's not fucking bottles of wine. I used to drink wine at raves. Like, what the fuck. But yeah, so being so present, and it's not exhausting to obviously be chasing your high, and I don't know about other people, but drugs did make me anxious a bit, especially obviously cocaine, and stuff like that. So
heart rushing. So
if people insinuate you have to be off your face or drinking to be dancing, and when I did go to my first rave or my first night out clubbing, I felt less anxious. I did.
Yeah,
because
me too.
I'm more present.
Yeah,
and I don't know why. I'm like, I don't care if people are looking at me. Let them look. Like, but then because you're so observant and you're so self-aware, you can tell everyone's just fucking looking forward. No one's looking around and going, what the fuck is she wearing? What's he wearing? Yeah. Everyone's there to have a good time, dance and feel the energy. So is that the same as you? Like,
like I felt like a bad bee when I went out, my first sober night out. I was like, I'm sober, and if anything gets a bit leery around here, I've got the legs on me to be able to run. Like, don't know why that was my first thought, but I was like, if anything kicks off, I'm not going to be like, oh no, I don't know what's going on, I can't run away. Yeah, that's just how my brain works, because I'm a little bit messed up still. But like, I am so sober and so aware that if there's anything bad that goes on, because bad things do happen when you go on a night out. Yeah. So you're sober.
And you can see them.
Yeah, and you're aware, and you can be like, right, do you know what? I can protect myself in this situation. Or my friends, like, you kind of, not mother them, but you're their support there as well. Because, you know, some people can drink normally. Wow. Don't know what that is. But some people can drink normally, so that's fine. But yeah, I remember my first night out when I went to Moo Moo's in Maidstone with my sister, and I had a great time. And you know, when I got home and I looked in the mirror, my makeup looked exactly the same as it did when I went out, and I didn't want to take it off because I was like, damn girl.
But if we were drinking, it would have been eyelashes on the fucking
mascara
forehead.
Everywhere, like literally just a mess. So it's nice to not become a messy looking person for one, because it takes hours to get ready for a night out.
And that's the best
Well, it does
part.
for me anyway. I'm a nightmare.
I love getting ready. Bit, like, you put some, I always put DJ sets on in the background and make a couple of TikToks, do thirst traps on the Instagram.
We love it. Thirst trapping.
Yeah, like, that's all a part of the night out experience for sure.
And talking about being like more aware when you're sober, like, I used to think on nights out that I'd met the love of my life. Like, if a guy even approached me, I'd be like, oh, he's my husband. And now when I go on nights out, if anyone speaks to me, I just watch where they go next. And best believe they're around the whole room talking to every other woman.
Especially in a place called Moo Moo's.
Yeah, so honey, they are not your husband, okay? If you've met your husband in a night out, that's absolutely fine. Like, go you.
Good for you.
Good for you. I'm so happy for you. But yeah, for me, he was not my husband, and it was great to be able to be aware of that,
and then not wake up in his bed the next day.
We make good decisions now. Not saying that if you do that kind of thing it's a poor decision, but you know, it's life. It's life.
But I when I put out the TikToks about my sober raving or just going out sober, I put out a lot of tips and stuff. Loads of backlash in the comments. People like, but I've got anxiety, I can't go to a rave not on something, I can't go clubbing and not drink. We've spoken about this before. You've got to be mentally well to put yourself in that situation. If you're not mentally well, I think the first month of my sobriety I did stay in. I did stay at home. That was my choice. Because I've been on such a massive bender. I think my whole body was like, calm down, babes. Literally. So you need to do it when you're ready, and if that takes 6 months, if that takes a year,
I think I did do 6 months without, because I don't think I couldn't trust myself. I didn't feel comfortable in situations where I knew people would be taking drugs and drinking. I didn't trust myself.
It's overwhelming as well. Like, that's another thing you've got to think of. If you're not taking the drugs or the alcohol, other people around you are, that's going to trigger you. When I was at a rave, we went outside to go eat, and I'm really lucky, like I said before, my close circle of friends, and I go out with my brother and my cousin, my families, they don't take drugs, and they just drink, but not heavily drinkers either. And we went out for some food, and we all sat down in this like really busy place where people were sitting down to eat, and as soon as I sat down and looked up, everyone's eyes is like Bambi, like they're obviously on ecstasy, because that's where everyone comes out, the cuddle corner.
Bambi in headlights.
Literally, I call it, like, you know, when everyone goes outside and they're so overwhelmed because the drugs they've taken, it's too strong. It's too much in their system. So they're all holding on to each other and their eyes are pinging out their face. I used to be that way.
Same.
But it was funny to see my brother and his girlfriend, and my best friend and her brother. They was all like, what the fuck's going on? They don't know what that is, because they've never experienced it. And I felt really overwhelmed. I felt like I sat down to eat, and every time I looked up, I'd look around and they were all staring at me because they think I'm staring at them. And
they're paranoid.
Literally, So I said to my friends, I went, do you mind if I just go stand over there, have a cigarette and just have a little bit of a breather? But you have to be mentally okay to still keep going. That might have triggered you. Like, you don't know what the story is.
No, and it's okay to need that breathing space as well. Like, if you need to take 5 or 10, or if you've had enough and you want to go home, you can do that because you can drive. Like, if you drive and you're sober, you can just get in your car and leave at any time you want. And you don't owe anyone anything. Your sobriety means more than anything. So if you need to get in your car and leave because you feel uncomfortable, then leave, you know. Having an escape route is so important, and like the people that you go out with need to be aware of, you know, the fact that you're sober and that you don't want to participate in that, and they need to respect that, but also they need to help with your escape route if you need it as well, and support that, and not peer pressure you into needing to stay out, or, you know, oh, just stay, because that could then lead to you having a drink or taking drugs.
Exactly.
So
because
that's
it's peer
important.
pressure. That was another comment on my TikTok.
Yeah.
They went, yeah, but how do you deal with peer pressure? Because I made like tips on what you should be doing if you are planning on going out sober. And then someone's like, yeah, but you haven't mentioned about peer pressure. I'm like, honey, if you're getting peer pressured, you're not with...
They're not your friends.
They're not your friends.
They're not your friends.
If you feel like you can't go out with a group and not drink or take drugs, and they're going to have the ump about it...
They're just good time friends.
Take them away from you. Like, get them out of your life.
Yeah.
Like, and like Emily said, so basically the main things is have an escape route. If you drive, drive your car. I always drive to London. Like, tomorrow I'm going to a gig. I always make sure my car's there because I just don't know what I'm going to be feeling like on that day. If I want to go out early, or if I want to let everyone else stay in the club and then I come to my car so I can just have a breather, that's my plan of action. So you don't have to be worried about it. Making sure you're with the right group of people, and then other things like good food in your belly, other stuff we can probably go into. What works well for you? So
making sure you've had a good meal, it gives you energy, because raves are for hours. They can go on for hours. So you want to make sure that you've got, you know, a good substantial amount of food in your tummy, like protein. Because high protein content. Take vitamins before you go out, and obviously we do enjoy Red Bull, so
but not too much because it gives you a headache.
Not too much because you won't be able to sleep at night, unless you're like me and caffeine has the opposite effect on your brain where it can just put you to sleep. But I enjoy a Red Bull. I enjoy that. So I try to not have Red Bull until I'm in a situation I need it. So when I first got sober, I would be drinking it all day, every day, because then I think that's my addiction, replacing something with something else. Me too. Me too.
But if you've used Red Bull, or I don't know, a caffeinated beverage, or people say electrolyte drinks like Prime, quite good, use that as your pre-drink, or something you're excited to drink it with. Like, I sometimes put it in a nice glass of ice and a straw, how I would with my alcohol.
You can still do things like that, you know, and some people are, when they go sober, they're against the whole non-alcoholic beverages, or they're against like mocktails and things because it might trigger them to wanting the real thing. It's such a personal thing that
it is.
It's like, if the taste of something that even slightly tastes like alcohol might trigger you, then just stay away from it. There's other drinks that you can drink, you know. There's Coca-Cola, Sprite, water, Fanta, like you can drink other drinks. You don't have to do that. Or a juice.
A nice juice.
Vimto
sometimes
is
green juice, mate, that gives me going.
All that.
Don't know what it does to you, but I'm just like, as soon as I've got green juice in my
girl's got green juice,
I'm ready to go. But like Emily said, I like protein drinks. So the protein milkshakes, even though someone did send me a message the other day and say they don't do anything, but I'm just like, just let me live. Let me live.
Let me be me.
So they have 20 grams of protein in, and I just feel like that's going to set you up. So you want to make sure you're not hungry, angry, lonely, tired before you go out on set. Make sure you have a nap. I can't nap.
You can have a disco nap. It's fine. Have a disco nap. Literally. Just because you're not going to be drinking and using drugs all night to keep you all, like, awake and energized. Still take a power nap.
And main thing, shades.
Still wear your glasses, girlies and boys.
So we went to the rave. Obviously at rave settings, in the club you can still wear your shades. Or I wear tinted colour glasses. Don't know what it does. Obviously it makes you look cool.
People watching.
It just but I don't know what it is. I can't really look people in the eye when I talk to them anyway. Don't know why. But when I put on a pair of shades, I just have this boost of confidence,
Yeah.
especially in the club. If you're dancing and you're like getting into it, if you've got shades on, you're not looking at people, and people can't see your eyes of who you're looking at. Gives you so much more confidence.
Yeah.
That is a key thing.
Yeah.
And I've noticed my brother, he's went to his first rave. He wears his glasses
Big up
the whole
Luke.
time. Big up Luke, Gemma. And then we went to a concert the next day. He still was wearing his glasses. I don't know, probably because he was shattered from the night before. But I've noticed when we are in social settings, or if we are in crowded places, or at the club or at a rave, he'll always wear his shades.
Yeah.
But that's because he feels comfortable, I think.
And
so
people would just presume that you're like them and you're drinking or you're using. They won't ask any questions. They're not going to stand there saying, oh my God, are you not drinking? Like, you just fit in with everyone else. And I think like alcohol is the only drug that you have to justify not using. Like, because it is a drug at the end of the day, and it's an addictive one. And do you know something that I read when I first came into sobriety? It blew me away, really. It was something along the lines of, oh, you failed the test on getting addicted to an addictive substance. You failed the test. And it's like, what do you mean failed the test?
Yeah.
Like, if something's addictive and I've got addicted to it, is that my fault? If it's an addictive substance,
true.
It's something that's addictive, like whether it be drugs or alcohol. You're like, oh, you failed the test because you got addicted to it. Come on.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's there to be addicted to.
Yeah,
basically.
like.
Yeah, no, that's so true.
Yeah.
So true.
This year, we are going to our first festival sober, aren't we?
Yes.
We're going to Creamfields. Very excited about this.
We're going to document it, I think.
Yeah, we'll vlog it.
We'll vlog it and show everyone what we do.
Yeah.
We are going with people that are going to drink. No one's going to be using. Obviously, you can't vlog that anyway. But yeah, we're going with a really good group of people. The lineup is sick.
Unreal.
If you haven't get to know it.
Yeah, literally.
Peggy Goo.
Come on.
My God, I fucking love Peggy Goo.
Yeah, we're so excited.
So yeah, we are really excited, and we'll use that as a prime example
of how you can do it sober.
Literally.
And you can still have so much more fun. Like, I used to get a gut feeling when I first got sober, like, that excitement that you get before going out when I was drinking and using was really high. I'd be really excited because I'd be like, right, I'm going to be able to take loads of drugs, loads of alcohol, like, and just have an absolute blast. And like, I'd be really excited. But what I'm more excited about now is looking good, getting the hair looking good, the outfit's on point, like, and you can still get that amazing feeling when you walk into a rave or a festival where the music's pumping and your heart's going and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. That doesn't get taken away just because you're sober.
Literally, that high that you're going to experience, like Emily just said, walking into a festival or a gig or something.
It's so good.
It's natural, and I think we forget about that.
Yeah.
Like, I completely forgot about that feeling. And when I was younger, when I used to go to like concerts and that when you can feel like the boom boom through your chest and you're like, oh, and then you experience that sober, you don't need things to keep you going. And I think as well, what we probably haven't mentioned is like, you shouldn't. I think the body doesn't want to stay up until 4 or 6 a.m. Well, I used to go until 1 p.m. the next day sometimes.
Yeah, same.
So if you are feeling tired, this was another thing when I first went into recovery and started going out. I started feeling tired, and I used to get so aggy and so pissed off with myself because I'd be like, you used to stay up till you never used to sleep for 2 days. Yeah. So why can't you do that now? Obviously, there was because of the drugs, mate. Yeah. Like, you got to start realizing that your body does get tired. Yeah. And when you do get tired, go to sleep,
and that's okay.
Call it a night.
Yeah.
Sometimes people have FOMO, but if you force yourself or have another Red Bull or have another coffee or whatever, you're just gonna get sad.
You then fall into the hungry, angry, lonely, tired category, and you're more likely to just be like, oh, sod it, I'm just gonna have a line, or I'm just gonna just get a drink, and then that's
when you crave in because you think the night maybe hasn't started properly, or if you stay out, something good's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna happen. You're just gonna sit around until it's probably going to someone's kitchen at 6 a.m. Yeah,
and like having those few hours of enjoyment is okay. You haven't got to stay out all night. It's okay just to have a few hours and come home, and do you know what, waking up the next day feeling on top of the world and being able to remember your night is great.
Yeah,
it's like it never gets old.
And you don't get that anxiety, beer fear, what everyone calls it.
Beer fear, yeah.
I used to get that so bad, even if I had a really good night. And yeah, like just not having that is incredible. And I don't cringe at anything I say, because I know that I was my true
authentic
self. Literally.
This is us.
And I was saying this to Emily before we started the podcast. My sober date is the 27th of the 9th, which is last year, 2023. And my best friend got it on a bracelet for me, which is very cute. Thank you, Alicia.
Cute.
I don't feel like my life started until that date.
100%.
So when I look at pictures and videos, obviously I spoke about my story before, I've travelled a lot. When I look at videos and pictures or at certain festivals and stuff, I'm not present. I'm not there. I'm off my face in another universe, and I'm just not taking in the moment. I'm not. So after the 27th of September last year, my life, I think, started, because every moment that I've done, I've been to raves, or I've been on holiday, or I've done this, I was so self-aware, so in that moment. I wasn't numbed by anything. The feelings I felt were true, and they weren't artificial serotonin that I've forced into my body.
Genuine feelings.
Yeah, do you feel the same as well?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think it can be really daunting when you first go out and you haven't got your beer coat on, as they say. Like, even now, when I'm getting ready to go out and it's cold outside, my brain will automatically go, but once you've had a drink, you won't feel it. Yeah. And I'm like, no, you
did that the other day when we went for a meal for your birthday.
I was like, you don't do this anymore, Em. But your brain's still on autopilot, and you're still going to have those thoughts. But it's what you do with those thoughts, you know, like, no, thank you. Like, of course, I don't want to have alcohol to help make me feel warm anymore.
Yeah.
You know, isn't it crazy, like, the coping mechanisms that we used to use on a night out? Like, oh, you're cold, have a drink. You're feeling sad, have a drink. Like, the triggers, like, just going through some triggers that used to set me off. Like, in the end, it was anything and everything. But even, like, the sun being out, beer garden weather, let's get out.
That smell of the beer garden,
yes,
oh my God.
Let's go, let's get in the sun.
Yeah.
Listening to house music was a big one for me, because I started using and drinking heavily when I really got into house music. It wasn't, house music didn't cause that to happen.
Yeah.
It was just the kind of scene that I was in.
Yeah.
So when I got sober, I found it really difficult to listen to the music that I used to listen to.
Yeah.
I can happily say that I can listen to it now, but the thoughts still do come into my mind, because it takes me back to those times when I was, when I was like drinking and using. But it doesn't mean that I can't listen to house music now and it's going to make me have a drink or take drugs, because I've got the tools in my toolbox. You know, I pray for those thoughts and feelings to be taken away, and I know that house music isn't going to make me drink or use. You know,
it's just your brain that had that sort of
it's like
feeling.
rewiring your brain into thinking that, associating house music with session, basically.
When it's not. We love house music.
We love house music.
I put house music on when I clean.
Who would have thought that?
Why did I say that?
Y'all don't clean.
So I had the same with techno. Techno raves. I love techno. And just, it's always funny when you have them triggers just from them certain pieces of music, or if it comes on in the car and you just get that shiver, then you got to go, nope, that was the old you. And so just you going back to saying about praying, I don't know if we want to cover a little bit about our higher power. How we cope with sobriety. This is a very touchy subject, I'll say.
It is. It's very touchy, because the way that we've gotten sober is by relying on a higher power. Now, the program that we've used to recover requires a belief in a power greater than yourself. And it's a spiritual program. It's not religious, it's a spiritual program. So, you know, when you think about the universe and how we got here, and, you know, just by surrendering and thinking, right, there's something greater in the world than me, because we are so self-centered when we're in the midst of alcoholism, that we think we're the biggest thing in the world, and we're not. You know, when you see these natural disasters happen and things like that, There's obviously a power greater than us, like when the waves can crash over massively in a tsunami, or winds and hurricanes, like these are powers greater than us. Do you know what I mean? There's got to be something there. So yeah, by working the 12-step program, the way that I come into my faith, and I'm now born again Christian and I believe in God and Jesus Christ, he is my Lord and Saviour. I love him. Amen, sisters. So I came into my faith through working the 12-step program, and it's a beautiful thing because it requires you to believe in a power greater than yourself. And whenever I'm having these thoughts and feelings on a night out, or before a night out if I feel anxious, or even just in everyday life, I can talk to God and I know that he's listening, and any little problem that I've got, I can take it to him, or any horrible feeling I've got in my stomach or silly thoughts going around in my head about the night, I just pray.
Yeah.
And then
it
I let
make
go.
You feel better.
And it works.
It does.
It works.
Yeah.
What about you and your higher power?
So when I first stepped into the rooms, you weren't into religion, were you?
No.
Like, if you don't mind me mentioning your tattoo.
Yes.
Like, she has the Antichrist on her face.
I have got the Antichrist. I thought I was a bad bitch.
But you don't look at it that way now. I didn't even know that the upside down cross was meant Antichrist. So I didn't, obviously Emily, when I first met her, she was all very much praise Jesus, like Jesus my Lord and Saviour. And then I saw the cross and I just assumed, oh, that's why. And she was like, no, Kate, this is the Antichrist. That's who I used to be, before.
I worshipped the devil.
Yeah, like Satan.
I worked for him for years.
But I was really shocked actually, just because obviously I met Emily when she was a born again Christian. But when I walked into the rooms, I do believe I am very spiritual. I do believe there is something higher than me. Never knew really what it was, and because I am an openly gay woman, I obviously used to go to, I still do, I go to a lot of prides every year. We have a lot of Jesus preachers putting cardboards in our face telling us we're going to hell, that we preach Satan. And I used to live by that. It's like, love Satan.
Yeah. That is not God, by the way. God is love.
Yeah.
Those people are not.
No, they've twisted it. And my higher power is God, but I've started to realise that my higher power is the sky, the sunsets, just the starry night itself, the moon. I look at the moon sometimes when I pray. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, just praying is not going to keep you clean and sober. It helps.
It does.
It really helps.
Yeah.
Like, I pray every morning, every night. If I haven't prayed before I go to sleep, I don't feel like I've done my day properly.
Yeah.
And we, in our 12-step program, we have to do this sheet of what we done in the day. Did we do right by ourselves? Is there anything better? Anything we could have done better? Was we selfish? Was we resentful?
It's like clearing out the day, isn't it?
Clearing out the day, making us a better person.
Yeah.
Honestly,
going to bed with a clear conscience.
Like, if you told me 6 months ago I'd be doing that, praying and writing down all the bad things I'd done in the day, I would have been like,
yeah,
no, mate.
Literally, I had no idea how to even pray. Like, I got on my knees and I was like, hello.
I literally, I'm still a bit awkward with it now. Like, I'll do that.
It takes practice.
Sometimes I swear.
And there's no perfect way to pray either, you know. Sometimes I just sit and have a conversation with God. I'm just like, oh, look, this is happening today, and it's just like a normal conversation.
Yeah.
And I know that he's listening, because it's like, the way I explain spirituality and faith to people is, if you know it's windy around you, like it's a windy day, how do you know it's windy? You know, you see the effect that it has around you, like the trees are moving and you can feel the wind. It's the same thing as that is what spirituality is. It's, you know that it's there, you can't see it, but you know it's there and you can feel it. So amen to that.
Amen, sister.
Yes.
And I'd like to, because that is a very touchy subject, you don't have to be religious to go into a 12 steps program. One of the first step is of a God of your understanding, or a higher power of your understanding. People really struggle with that, and that is the first step of recovery. And I remember being in my worst states. I remember it was like the women's Euros or something we lost, women football. I don't even watch it, but I was like, fuck's sake, like,
This
go
means
power.
so much.
Like, and then I remember just getting like on a massive bender, and I hadn't eaten properly in 2 days, and I was on so much cocaine and was drinking all day because the football game was on at 11 a.m. basically.
Yeah.
And then I walked home along the sea wall, and I remember falling down to the ground, and I whacked my head, and I think I did black out for a sec, and I think my whole vision went white. I remember looking at the sky and crying and shouting out for God, just saying like, please get me out of this. Why am I this insane? Why am I doing this? And obviously a miracle's not going to happen then. Like, I'm thinking God's going to pick me up, and you've got to do it yourself. You've got to surrender yourself.
You've got to put in the action.
He or they or whatever you think of it will help you on the way, and it does help, but you've got to put yourself in the recovery first. It's not, you can't just pray for a miracle. But then the best saying that I've ever seen is sobriety creates miracles. It fucking does.
100%. Like, stick around long enough in sobriety to see the miracles happen, because they will.
I can't believe my life of things that just every week something. We always say it, like, things happening for reasons. We're like,
look at the doors that have opened like recently for us.
Literally, like,
it's incredible.
And hopefully this podcast is one of them. And we're just, our focus on this podcast is to make people well.
And to spread awareness. And if you're struggling, or you're not sure if you've got a problem, or you know you've got a problem and you need some help, then message us or follow the helplines and the links that we provide underneath the video. But that was a nice one.
That was nice.
So that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for listening and for watching, and also for sharing this as well. Like, loads of you have been sharing it with friends and family, and we really appreciate every single one. Like, it's our main aim really, is to get it out there as much as possible. So every share matters. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And we try and get them out every Friday, depending on how busy the week is. But again, we try and cover things that people have asked us anonymously. But obviously, if you have a question, don't be afraid to ask us in our DMs, and we won't share anything. No, but we can help, to answer them in the pods. Yeah, literally. So, okay, cool. Thank you. Are we going to do our heart thing again? Yeah. Millennial, Gen Z, old, young. I'm big, you're little. I'm right, you're wrong. Is it that? Yes. Okay, cool. Love you, bye. Love you, bye.